Hey there, chosen ones. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? So, yup. Political theories, and basically I've been thinking a lot about the word stay. So we hear it a lot with stay 6 feet apart, stay connected, stay home, save lives. Like, are we paying attention to how society is conditioning us slowly but surely over time to respond to certain words? Are we thinking about this? Are we paying attention? These are the type of nuances that we'll be discussing in today's video. Again, apologies for the inconvenience and disruption in yesterday's video yesterday afternoon. So today I'm making measures to improve the environment as much as I can control, so we're indoors. And it works out because I think there was like thunderstorms and stuff. And a little bit of rain. So, works out to be indoors today. Hope everyone's well. Super well. Oh shit. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I always just try and sit in my own little creative ways, I guess. I'm totally cool. That was part of the script. So we went over some nuances of American culture yesterday, how war has changed American culture. Quick little recap. Vietnam War was the first televised war, and that shifted culture in America vastly because, as I was arguing yesterday, it shifted the focus from socializing and being around others, and most importantly being outdoors, like in nature, appreciating the simplicities of life, and started the phases of isolation. And that I'm trying to find a comfortable way to sit. Okay, I think I got it. Yowza. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out one day. So that was a quick recap, and yeah, I was like thinking about the word stay and how that's constantly being used and conditioning us over time. You know, it's not like any reminders to be ourselves. And I'm just thinking, like, if the government and society were really for us, would we have to, like, struggle so hard just to have basic needs met, such as healthcare? And would we be struggling, would most Americans be struggling with, like, food scarcity if we were able to meet that need for everybody? Would we see all this struggling, like, and the word I'm looking for is regressivity. It's inherently regressive to have healthy food be expensive and food that is essentially poison for our bodies, for that to be affordable. And I even saw, like, this is actually old furniture from the other table that I broke from trying to sit on it creatively, but I think this will suffice. I think it will. Please, Jesus, keep me safe on this. I think it's totally solid. It's rock solid, bro. I just figured out how to, like, sit. It's so cool. Okay. I just have to sit my little ways. I'm just like, I like to perch, you know? I like to be next to the windows. It's a vibe. So, slowly being conditioned over time with certain words, and I just wanted to bring that to light. And, you know, well, we'll just jump right into the questions that I have for today. what does consumerism absolutely necessitate? What is something that consumerism absolutely needs in order to continue to meet the customers and the target audience's needs? Are your wheels stinking? Are they churning? I made some iced coffee. It's pretty tight. Definitely beats the bodega coffee. Definitely. Everything homemade is so much better. Well, if you have any answers, I'd love to hear. But perhaps one of the things you thought of for the question I had, which is, what does consumerism absolutely necessitate from society? And what does consumerism need in order to continue to meet its target audience's needs? Yup, bingo, you guessed it. Constant surveillance, constant information. So we see this manifested in kind of like a 3D and a 5D way, where cosmic powers and spiritual forces of evil will monitor what we're saying in a room off in the microphone, and companies like Instagram and other apps will ask for permission in order to do that. So by legally we're like accepting it and submitting to that violation of publicity, so to speak. And so the 5D way that we experience constant surveillance in ways of obtaining information from third parties, like the way third parties obtain information in an unethical and constant timeline type of way, and honestly in a really unhealthy, obsessive way, is via monitoring spirits. Okay. I don't want to move too fast. I'm trying to chill out. Looks like I wrote down here, in order to use daily info as a way to plot the next untapped scheme. So yeah, they need to always be able to know more and more and more. And that's why you see something pop up on your advertisements that maybe you were just thinking about. Maybe you see an email pop up and you were just talking about that type of XYZ. So we are undoubtedly being monitored and under constant surveillance for, and this is the point I want to make, and this mostly about, I'd like to drill this point home, is that what is constantly fed to us as citizens in modern day society is that it's for our safety. Stay connected, keep a phone that could possibly give off harmful radioactivity and harmful changes to one's brain chemistry. Keep that always near your head, right where your brain is, the most important thing in order to function. Yes, keep this phone, and you're going to have to pay a lot of money for it every single month, by the way, but keep that one harmful thing that has a lot of radioactivity really close to your skull. Yeah, and then you're going to need that one thing in order to be able to get a job, to be able to stay in touch with anybody you want to stay in touch with, who you need in your life and who you love to stay in touch with. They feed the idea, like government is like, just like slowly, have you guys noticed the cultural trends over time, how the cell phone became, like we look back, what's his face? What's his name? That actor, Michael Douglas. He's like, we see him sitting on the beach with a brick phone, and then when he's done and he hangs up and it just falls, he just puts it right into the sand and hangs up. That's the end of the scenario. But then it gets more and more convenient to where it can just go in our phone, to where it has gotten overheated at certain points and has harmed actual people before by like literally bursting into flames. Oopsie, it's like these are things that we're like brushing off as blip on the radar quinkadinkies, and like must have just be like a malfunction. Like, we have to wake up, and that's what I'm like seeing right now, unfortunately, too, is that like there's purposeful strategic moves in order to depopulize over time, because it's all about control. And then the other point that I wanted to drive home is that anything that is conditioned and programmed to citizens in modern day society is like that. It's for our safety. It's for our safety. And that is the exact same political mechanism when we look back on other dictatorships, such as Mao Zedong in China, and the little red book that he gave out that was like published on opinion and was like kind of like a necessary well-to-do, like this is every citizen is expected to read this book and be well educated and be well read on this matter, and it was given sometimes as a gift to friends or as a warm housewarming gift. It was a sign of honor and dignity and nationalism. It was seen maybe not even nationalism. I want to be careful there, because it's like it was seen as an honor, and it was seen as a beloved, guided way of thinking. That was to behoove the citizen and for their safety, and that was what was always fed. And so we look back at other dictatorships as such as Mussolini and Hitler. There's always this political mechanism for control and complete conquering, and it's all about getting the people that are oppressed to move and act based off of fear via a propaganda, via a type of brainwash, via a false facade of political motives that are illustrated to the citizens as safety guidelines. Okay. With that being said, the next question for today's vid, what are we at? Awesome, doing great on time. Is what is a guaranteed way of meeting our needs, our propaganda needs? What is absolutely necessary? What are ways that we can determine propaganda operating in society? Thanks for your patience with me. I had to think of, because I had a couple different, can't quite read my handwriting. All right, let me know what you're thinking. What you thinking on that? Thoughts on propaganda, definitions, i.e. brainwash, i.e. false facades that are conditioned and programmed to a group of people that is based off of political motives, but that is usually guided and illustrated to the citizens as safety guidelines. What are some ways in history and in the past we've seen propaganda be operating and active? And what are ways in the past? Another way to ask this question might be, what are ways in the past that we have that political motives have been symbolic in advertisements and in daily consumerism? Okay, so I want to hear what your thoughts are on that, like what your answers might be on that. Super. This is what I've come up with as ways that we can determine how propaganda is active and operating in modern day society. So the amount of time. So the first one is the amount of time that type of propaganda has been active and maintaining over what, a decade, over a couple of decades. That's powerful. That's a key way to determine, like, if that type of propaganda or any propaganda at all, brainwashing, that type of false facade, how long it's been active. So we can look like at the propaganda of stay 6 feet apart, stay at home, save lives, stay safe. I mean, that's another one. And then also like stay connected, like the cell phone. Noticing that's been like a couple of years now, like roughly on that type of rhetoric that you would see even on the traffic lights, like on the highway, like stay home, save lives. That is powerful conditioning over time. So that's an example of like propaganda that's in use and how long it's been in effect, such as wearing masks as well. Other social media propaganda that we see as well is prank culture. Have you guys noticed that it seems to be that everything on these clips, on these shorts, is to embroil another into a reaction that is essentially kind of unethically and willfully, maliciously provoking the other into a prank for views. So slowly over time, this will slowly but surely condition us into living our lives for views and becoming less attention span, first of all, into what's going on, and not having a longer attention span at all anymore. That's dwindling down as well. But it's like we're being conditioned in order to have a reaction, and to be interested in that. Crack an egg on your partner's forehead, see what they do, just to see what they do. I told my ex-girlfriend, whatever, like as an example, like there's some cute ones too, like hug my husband just to get his reaction. But have you noticed like that's a trend, and so we're being slowly conditioned to put credibility and weight into views and trends. And this can be clearly seen in how we have the TikTok, the app, TikTok, you guys, and the Supreme Court. Like that's an example of how that is an example of how, which brings me to my next point of how other ways we can tell that propaganda is active and operating in modern day society is how deeply embedded the propaganda is in society. And so I would say TikTok reaching Supreme Court, that would be in like hearing a case and litigating a case on the matter of somebody versus TikTok. Like that would be an example of a deeply embedded that would be an example of a very strong, high level of deeply embedded propaganda in society. If it's in the legal courts like that, absolutely. That means that there's something powerful about it, or something, something that like in any free speech, anything where we're learning from others of halfway across the world, that type of, sometimes like, there's an algorithm that won't be crazy about people learning so much. And we talked about like how in a couple of different videos ago, like about 5 things that give men an edge in modern day society, is that a man's willingness to educate, because it puts people it would put an individual on the spot, and it's a sacrifice because generally speaking, government doesn't want nonconformists to speak up and think about, well, what about this? And maybe we should pay attention a little bit more. And generally speaking, the elites don't want anyone questioning motives or questioning methods or questioning history or questioning events or outcomes of living in a world where literally 1% of the economy has the wealth. So they will have their ways of hushing others that are speaking up and asking questions. They don't like that. You know why? It threatens their position. Because another thing that we discuss on this channel is that those in power like to keep their power. So that's the number one rule about power, is those in power like to stay in power. Cool. We're at 20. Okay, so I think that's we got a lot in today. We talked about propaganda. That's like one of the first questions, and I guess this is like an awesome type of topic. That will it's so packed and juicy that yeah, maybe we could finish today. We're almost there. No, I'll save one, because that'll be juicy. That'll be juicy for tomorrow, and then that'll be like Friday, right? Or what's today? Today's yeah, perfect. Okay, guys. And the one last thing I haven't mentioned yet, but I think it's a nice little cap for the vid, is I wrote down a note here. Every political upheaval in history starts with engineered feelings of guilt and shame. Cool. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. Hopefully that got your brain buzzing with thoughts and stimulated critical thinking, and all that good stuff. And yeah, this type of topic that we're discussing this week is inspired off of Ephesians 6:12, for we fight not against flesh and blood, but of rulers, authorities, cosmic powers, and spiritual forces of evil. Yeah. Okay, guys, love you so much. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Let me know what you're thinking if you want in the thoughts, and stay safe and practice being kind and compassionate with yourself with whatever your day is like today. Maybe it's awesome. Maybe maybe you're shit out of luck. I don't know. But I hope this video helps either way. Improve and educate, entertain, be informative, or if anything, distract from life. And it's just fun to think about stuff, and consider what's going on. And I think it's something that we are. It's each person's individual responsibility to come together, and that's why I really appreciate and talk about these kind of things. So that's why I really appreciate you. Love you guys. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay chosen. Peace.